Okay, when you master communication and conversational skills with a woman, you keep them interested, intrigued, and wanting more. However, fail to communicate well, and you will end up sweating in awkward silences and parting ways faster than you can say bye. What's worse is she'll assume there was never a real spark to begin with, and you'll have to start all over with the next one. In this video, we'll explore the innate differences in men and women's communication and conversational styles, how to have effortless dialogue, and how to keep a conversation alive and engaging, including examples. If you're new to my channel, my name is Anna Jorgensen. I help you find, attract, and keep your keeper, or simply have better relationships with women. My videos focus on what you can do. Welcome to Just the Tip. If you want to attract your special sweetheart before you become dust in the wind, you'll need to learn how to master communication skills with modern women based on what they respond to today. Now, to do that, first you need to understand the psychology of engaging conversations. This information can benefit all your relationships, even if you choose to stay single. So, feel free to skip to the conversation tips at this timestamp, but you'll be missing out on some key information that can help you become a better conversationalist with anyone. Let's look at the psychological perspective. So, the psychological differences between men and women influence engagement level. A woman who is initially attracted or intrigued by you will feel naturally drawn to you and curious about who you are. However, as you probably know, women are fickle creatures and there's a lot at stake if they choose the wrong partner, so initial attraction is only the beginning. A woman is innately on alert for signs that you're not the one. Men are more forgiving of women's character flaws if attraction is high. A man is innately on alert for signs she is the one, or at least that she'll share her sexy body with him. Is it fair? Maybe not, but it's not in your control. So let's focus on what is. There is a lot you can do to keep a woman interested and not inadvertently turn her off. Keyword, keep. She must have some level of interest to start. Now let's look at a sociological perspective. The dynamics of society and culture also influence engagement level. 1. Social norms. Conversations are shaped by societal norms and expectations like taking turns talking. As far as appropriate topics goes, there's something to be said for going rogue. If you have strong opinions about certain topics that are part of your value system, it's better to get those on the table sooner than later. 2. Shared culture. Conversations can be enriched when you share a common cultural background or values or identities. Shared experiences and references contribute to a sense of belonging and understanding. This is why expats in foreign countries often seek out people from their homeland, even if they're fluent in the local language. 3. Perceived value. Perceived social status can affect how things go, such as if one of you is perceived to be of higher social status, that can affect how each of you interact within the relationship or within the conversation. Never assume a woman is out of your league. In fact, and this might be a little controversial, it's better to have the mindset that you are the prize without trying to make her feel unworthy. And while it's best for men to lead conversations, you want to keep things fun and interesting for both of you. It's important that you both feel valued, of course. Now let's look at the physiological perspective. The brain's response to social stimuli also influences engagement levels. 1. Neurochemical responses. Conversations trigger the release of neurotransmitters associated with drive and pleasure and reward and bonding. 2. Mirror neurons. Mirror neurons in the brain are activated during social interactions. They allow us to subtly mimic and empathize with the emotions and experiences of the other person. 3. Cognitive processing. Engaging conversations stimulate regions of the brain involved in memories and emotional regulation, enhancing focus. The combination of psychological, sociological, and physiological factors contributes to making a conversation engaging and keeping her intrigued. Now, just before we explore how to have effortless, engaging conversations, if you've found value in this video so far, please like and consider subscribing. And thank you if you already have. All right, effortless conversations. They include 1. Mutual interest. When both of you share a genuine interest in a topic, it creates a sense of connection and engagement. 2. Active listening. Pay close attention to what she's saying, show empathy, and respond thoughtfully. 3, encouragement. Pick up on interesting details to encourage her to elaborate further. Asking clarifying questions shows you're paying attention. 4, emotional connection. Conversations that evoke emotions, whether through laughter or empathy or excitement, tend to be more engaging. 5, depth and authenticity. Delve deep below the surface. Explore deeper thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Authenticity and vulnerability, also known as the courage to expose our true selves, builds trust, closeness, and intimacy. Now let's look at some tips to keep a conversation going. 1, prime the pump. Not that one, the conversation pump. Have a few conversation starters ready to go, such as interesting observations or thoughts about upcoming events. Example, you could say, did you hear about that new coffee shop that opened downtown? I heard they have a unique way of brewing. Now, if she's not interested in coffee or she's not a coffee person, the conversation can naturally flow in a different direction. 2, use her name. Everyone's favorite word is their own name. Using her name creates a sense of familiarity. That's a tough word for me. Example, sprinkle her name into the conversation naturally, like, that's a great point, Sarah, or I mostly agree with you, Emily. Just don't overdo it or it will sound fake. 3, listen up, Buttercup. One of the golden rules of being a great conversationalist is to listen as much as you talk. Pay attention to what she's saying, not because you want to form a strategic reply, but because you're genuinely curious and interested in her. Example, if she mentions she likes hiking, instead of just saying, oh, that's cool, you could ask, what's your favorite hiking spot? Why do you love it there? Active listening not only shows you're engaged, but also gives you plenty of material to keep the dialogue going. 4, open-ended conversations. Avoid a lot of yes or no questions and instead opt for open-ended queries that encourage more detailed responses. An example could be, what are you passionate about? Rather than, do you like movies? Open-ended questions invite her to share more about herself and keep the conversation alive. Everyone wants to feel like they're important after all. 5, personal stories. Don't be afraid to peel back the layers and share a bit about yourself. This is a great way to find out how she responds to who you truly are. Example, if she talks about a recent travel adventure, you could share a story about your own travels, like, that reminds me of the time I got lost in the streets of Rome. I stumbled on a great gelato shop. Let's get an ice cream. Personal stories are like conversational glue, bonding you in relatable experiences. Plus, they add depth and authenticity to the conversation and help reveal if your values align. 6, common ground. Whether it's a shared interest or a mutual friend or a favorite pizza place, finding common ground is key. Example, if you both love coffee, I love coffee, you could say, I love trying new coffee places. What's your go-to cafe? Explore common interests and experiences and watch the rapport between you blossom like her beauteous flower. 7, embrace the awkward. Okay, so let's face it, awkward silences are bound to happen at some point. There's good awkward and there's God help me awkward. So don't panic. Embrace the awkwardness with a smile and maybe even a witty remark. Example, you could say, so we've reached the awkward silence stage. High five. A little self-deprecating humor can go a long way in breaking the tension and keeping the conversation lighthearted. 8, positive but real. Nobody likes a doogie downer. Doogie? Dougie? Anyways, try to keep the conversation mostly upbeat and positive while not faking your feelings. For example, if she mentions a tough day at work, instead of delving into the negativity, steer the conversation towards a more positive direction. Like you could say, I get that. Want to know what always cheers me up? Funny cat videos. Seriously, some of those crazy cat videos are great. Have you seen those compilations? Anyways, if that's way too polyandry for you, maybe you could say something like, who made you feel shitty? Should we get a shovel and some bleach? Try to avoid negative gossip because that's not good for anyone, and instead focus on topics that boost feel-good endorphins with joy and laughter. Key point. Whatever emotions you elicit in her, she will associate with you. Even if you're both into gossip, go there gradually, not straight out of the gate. You want to test the waters a bit, and if she bites, she could be your sarcastic soulmate. 9, Use body language. Nonverbal cues can speak volumes, so pay attention to your body language. For example, actually there's lots of examples. Maintain some eye contact, nod in agreement or disagreement, and lean slightly forward to show that you're engaged and interested in the conversation and what she has to say. Try to use touch early, lightly, and often, and appropriately. If she pulls back, then put off touching for a bit. She may not like to be touched, or she simply may not be ready for your touch. See my video on how to touch her. 10. Add laughies. Use a well-timed joke or funny observation. Light humor can ease tension and make her laugh, which releases, you guessed it, feel-good endorphins, and she associates that with you. Example, if you're laughing about a shared experience, throw in a lighthearted joke like, seems we're both in the same boat of bad luck. At least we can keep each other company. Avoid mean-spirited humor, especially directed at her. Bonus tip, know when to wrap it up. Not that. As much as women do love a good chat, there comes a time when all good things must come to an end. Pay attention to cues that indicate the conversation is starting to wind down, and gracefully bow out with heartfelt goodbye before then. What's the Wingmam motto? Right, always leave them wanting more, while giving them enough to want more. Example, as the conversation starts to wind down, say something like, you know, I've really enjoyed talking with you, Ashley. Let's continue this over an espresso at that new coffee shop next time, or wine bar, or pizza place, or ice cream place, or whatever. You indicate interest in seeing her again and assume she wants to see you again. This shows you're not afraid to go for what you want while leaving her wanting more. With practice and a dash of charm, you'll be a pro conversationalist stat. And if you use the 5 magic endorphins in your communication style, on the next date, she'll be craving to get closer to you both emotionally and physically. So if you want to know what those magic hormones are and how to use them to elicit desire in her, then you'll want to watch my video, Make the Best Impression on a First Date. Yes, and you'll also learn about how to use the 3 location date to get to the first kiss faster and more naturally. Because if you don't plan a great first date, someone else in her world will, and she'll be kissing him. So go ahead and watch that now. Thanks for being here. I believe in you. God bless.